Hey everyone, it's Saoirsesshelf. You'll have to excuse my voice again, I just filmed another video, so I'm absolutely losing it. Today I want to talk to you about getting into the world of writing professionally, and if that's something that you want to do, hey, we have that in common. I've known that I want to publish my writing for a long time, but I think I didn't admit it to myself completely. When I was really little, I used to create book covers and write the titles and, write a novel by so-and-so. And then, I wouldn't actually write the novel. And it wasn't until undergrad, I did my undergrad in literature, and I read some books that just really made me feel like I could actually do this. I could write my stories. And one of the books that did that for me was the autobiography of my mother by Jamaica Kincaid. It's absolutely wonderful, and I will reread it hopefully soon and do a video on that for you. So that book, and also Villette, because this was all in the same, sort of school year. I read Villette by Charlotte Bronte, and then the Kincaid book, and those both, they spoke to me so much. In terms of the narrator really reminded me of myself. So I thought, I have things to say too. And I actually started writing my first novel after, what year was that? Oh no, I graduated in 2014 with my bachelor's, and then I think it was 2015. So it took me a year to kind of marinate my thoughts. And then the next year, I wrote my first novel, and it felt so good to get that out there and realize that I could write over 200 pages of something that is not nonsensical. And then every year since then, I've written a book, whether it's memoir or fiction. But here's the thing, I'm sitting on all these manuscripts, and you may be asking yourself, why don't you try to publish them? Well, as you might know if you are also a writer, it is so scary to put yourself out there, to start querying agents and say, listen, I think what I've got should be heard by other people. Because part of it feels really vain, It's kind of hard not to feel a bit conceited when you're saying I have something that's worth reading. I think this is really good. I try to be really humble. Well, I don't try, actually. It just it's a self-deprecating problem that I have. I put my writing and myself down all the time. Because I definitely don't ever want to seem cocky, because I don't think that I'm the greatest thing that's ever happened to the world of writing at all. I have so much to learn. But I enjoy doing it, and one of the best feelings is after you've sat down with a blank page and you've been tearing your hair out and you think it's not going to go anywhere, and you really are genuinely scared that there is no story here, and then you get to almost the end, and you know the characters so well now, and you start thinking about them all the time, even when you're not sitting at your desk, and you need to tell their story. It's that need. If you have this fire in you where you absolutely have to get a story down on paper or it will destroy you, then that's how you know you really need to write it. And that's the point I get to when I'm going to start a project. And sometimes it takes months or even years for the ideas to sit in my head. I've had an idea for a trilogy sitting in my head for at least 4 years now, and wrote a very loose outline for it a long, long time ago, and it's still sitting in there I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready to come out yet. And that's okay, I've got time, and I'll work on other things in the meantime. So anyway, this video is really about how to begin if you are somebody who hopes to make a living with writing, or at least make a little money on the side, because that's what it comes down to, isn't it? We love writing. It's a hobby, it's a passion, maybe it's a way of life, but at the end of the day, how many people are satisfied to just write a manuscript and then stick it in a drawer and say goodbye? most of us want to get it out there to a bigger audience than just our family. So, and I'm not like an expert because I'm just beginning, so I thought it would be nice to do this video as somebody who is just starting this journey. If there are, other people like me out there who are completely overwhelmed and confused and don't know where to start, well, I'm right there with you. But I have learned a few things this year from being in the Creative Writing Masters at the University of Edinburgh and talking to all of the other students that I've met. I'm kind of hearing like what they're doing with their writing. And here's the thing. I always thought that I could just write a book, query an agent, and then it would be, like if it was good enough, it'd be published. But I think really what I'm learning is that you need to get your name out there in many other ways first, because then, like I talked about in my other video about, having a degree maybe sometimes setting you apart from other people who are querying agents. If you've also been published in, a literary journal or an anthology or whatever, then, or you've like won a contest, a writing contest, then that also is something that you can put on your little whatever about me thing, and that will set you apart as well. And maybe the agent will have heard of this particular journal or contest, or maybe they haven't, but it still looks good that you've done something. You've made proactive steps in your writing career. So I had never submitted any of my writing to anything other than, like school assignments, until I think 2017 was the first time that I entered a contest. It was a travel writing contest. And I love writing memoir, I love travel writing, and I did not get far in the competition. I didn't get shortlisted or anything. And it really discouraged me. And then the next year, 2018. No, 2018 I don't think I entered because I was on the AT. 2019 I entered again, and I wrote something about the AT for the travel writing contest, and I did make it to the top 100 out of like 13,000, and that was a big boost for me. So what I find that it's about is just those boosts, like the little things that signal to you you're on the right path, you're improving. So I didn't make it any farther than that. It's just top 100. So again, it's like you really have to be used to rejection. It happens constantly unless you're very, very lucky and incredibly talented. And then I entered another contest in January. Didn't get anything from that. Entered another one in April. I entered like 4 short stories in that one. Didn't get anything. And then I entered a couple of flash fiction contests this summer. Nothing. And then I submitted a piece of memoir for a new literary journal that publishes creative nonfiction, and it's Scotland-based. It can be you can write about anything in the world, but the journal is based here. And very excitingly, I've been shortlisted, so that means that like I've made it to the next round, if you will, and then I will find out if it's going to be actually published within a couple of months, I think. So that's the first like bite I've got with my writing, and it, if I get in, then it'll be the first time that I'm paid anything for my writing. Caddy keeps hitting the camera with her tail. So yeah, it's little steps, and I was always so overwhelmed about this whole world of submitting writing to journals and contests and things. The only thing I could ever wrap my brain around was the query letter to an agent. This was all very new to me, but I had to learn about it quickly, and I did, with the help of everybody in my program who's also submitting things, and some of them have been submitting things for a while. Some of them have been published here and there, and we actually all together created an anthology, which I've done a video on, and you've probably heard me talk about this so much, but like we published this anthology from Arthur's Seat. It's a collection of prose and poetry, and I am in there with my little story about the trail. What page am I? Oh yeah. There it is. And it's really short stuff, like we only had a 1,500 word limit. So, but this taught us like about, you know, editing, copy editing, publishing. We self-published it and printed it with Ingram Spark. And then we've been, you know, very excited to see the sales that have come out of that. So while that happened, I still, you know, it's my dream to be like traditionally published and not self-published only. And there's no shame in self-publishing if that's what you want to do, but for me it's like another like validation thing. You know, I want to be like the authors that I admire who get published traditionally. So anyway, you might be wondering, how do I find out about places to submit to? Like, where do I even begin? Well, let me tell you about Submittable. I found out about Submittable because of the thing I entered in January. It like made me create a Submittable account, and this is a really awesome resource where you can track all of your pieces that you've got out in the world to different contests and things, and it'll show you all of your active ones, and then pending, in progress, declined, or accepted. I've never seen accepted, but I see a lot of declined, and it's just a really good way to stay organized, and you'll need it to submit to a lot of things. So just make a Submittable account, easy, and then on there you can scroll through all of the contests that are going on at the time, and they'll tell you, you know, when they're due, when the contest ends, or when the submission window ends. And there are so many, let me tell you. Like, I get emails now constantly. Like I just got like 4 or 5 in the past 24 hours, and I'm, you know, like, I need to write a bunch of things so I can submit to these, because it's always worth it. And most of them that I've entered do cost a small fee. A few of them are like $20. So I've definitely spent more money than I've earned on writing this year, because I've earned none so far. But I hope that will change soon. So yeah, getting on Submittable, looking up contests and journals and online journals that are accepting submissions. Just kind of look at what fits you. Like, do you like writing flash fiction? Do you like writing microfiction? Do you like writing short stories? I've seen one that is for a first chapter of a book. All sorts of things that will, if you then get longlisted or shortlisted, or if you win, it'll get your name out there. And the more you do that, the better. Anything that you can put in your bio, like blah blah blah, Saoirse whatever, I'm longlisted for this contest with this piece, and on and on and on. And then it just makes you look like, well, you're more professional as a writer. You're taking it seriously. You're really hustling and trying to get your work out there. So what else would I recommend? Network, if you can. If you know of people in your local community who maybe do, I don't know, journalism, or if you know anybody who actually like writes, publishes novels and short stories, that would be awesome. Not everybody has that resource, but like in a lot of communities there will be writing groups. Like, I know personally, I joined the National Novel Writing Month group wherever I am. So I've joined events in Orlando and St. Pete and Edinburgh, and it's a really cool way to hang out with writers, especially during the month of November, and just write like crazy, and maybe pick their brains on what they're doing with their writing. And so you'll probably meet people who have submitted their writing to a lot of places and maybe can tell you more about what might be like well suited to what you're writing. So yeah, you can't really be shy. I know writing is like it's a very private thing, and we tend to spend, we've got this reputation for being these like hermits that just sit at our typewriters and don't see the light of day. I actually like almost never write at night. I need daylight for everything. I'm useless at night. But yeah, no, for me writing is like a lot of eating snacks and staring at my laptop with fear. But there are good moments too. So yeah, really making writing friends will really help you on your path, I think, because being around, we have like 50 people in the writing program here. Being around all those people has made all the difference in encouraging me, because in the years prior to this, I never made much of an effort with my writing. I had no idea where to begin submitting it, And now I feel like I've got this huge network of people, and in this program, we did get to meet some people, from the industry, and hear them talk about what they're looking for and how they go about publishing things. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like you need to go get a creative writing degree. I have the other video that I think I'm going to post first that's about my particular program. And if you think it would be useful for you, then go for it. If not, keep writing, and you don't 100% need a degree. If you think it would be helpful for you though to learn. But there were also like tons of workshops out there. Like one thing I did that was really, really useful was a memoir writing workshop in Guatemala last year with Joyce Maynard. And maybe I should do a whole video on that. But it was really cool. It was like less than 20 women just writing like their life stories, whatever part of their life that they want to tell. And we got to meet an agent and talk to her. And it was a really, really useful behind-the-scenes look at the writing life and the writing process. So if you can attend workshops, do so, definitely. If you can get other people to workshop your writing, do that. So aside from like submitting to contests and journals and stuff online, my only other experience with like possibly getting paid writing work is it's like nothing set in stone right now. It's kind of in the works. So, but I applied for a job recently, like as a writer and editor for a website, and I didn't make it all the way, but I might do some freelance writing with them, and I've never gotten to do that before. So, like, because I took that leap and did this application, that really scared me. Now I might get this chance to actually get paid real money to write about things that interest me. So what I want to say to you is just keep going. Don't give up, because there are all kinds of times in my life that I want to just say, why am I writing? I should quit. Nobody's ever going to want to read anything that I write. I've got nothing to say, nothing unique. I always equate it to being like a Hollywood actor, and the chances of making it at an audition are the same as, getting your book published, because there are millions of other people just like you trying to write. But the thing is, nobody has your exact voice. Nobody has the exact same story that you want to tell in the exact same words, and nobody has the exact same fire that you have and the desire to tell it. So you have to just keep pushing through the rejections. That's what I tell myself. I've gotten to the point where like of course I always expect like 50-50 that I'll be rejected, but when it happens now, I'm not even upset about it, honestly. I thought I would be. I thought like that's why I didn't do this for a long time, because I was really afraid of that like soul-crushing feeling of rejection, because I hate being rejected. It's that whole teacher's pet thing, like I must be perfect. But it gets so much easier so much easier when you realize like how it's not personal and how many people you're up against, and to even like have your work read by anybody else is special and useful. So keep doing it, because you really never know where opportunities are going to come from. If I can find more freelance work, I'd be very happy. I'd be extremely content with that, because that's kind of how I operate. I don't really want to have, a 9-to-5 office job. I like the idea of sort of being my own boss generally, but like working for different places doing writing jobs. And then having the ultimate goal to publish actual books. And I think that's something I've had to come to terms with, is that like that's kind of more in the future, because I don't want to say like you gotta pay your dues first, because like all writing is valid and legitimate and needed, but like if you want to write novels, chances are you're gonna start with something smaller first, and that's totally fine and that's normal. So that is just something that I've learned, and I'm glad that I've got that knowledge now, because I feel much more better equipped to head into this world of hopefully making money. I don't know if I'll ever make a living writing. I'll probably always do something else as well, unless like I just hit the jackpot and write a bestseller. That'd be pretty cool. I would love that very much. That's the ultimate dream. But like I said, that's 1 in a million. But it doesn't mean it can't happen. So that's why we keep trying, keep writing, keep dreaming. And I don't think I have much more to say. I hope you didn't think this was going to be like super great advice on exact steps you should take to suddenly make a living as a writer. Because as I said, I'm really a beginner in this world, and only found out about Submittable a few months ago. But I'm gonna keep submitting. I've got like a few contests that I want to work on in the next few weeks, and then my dissertation that I want to extend into a novel I'll probably let sit, and maybe I'll work on it in November as my NaNoWriMo book. I can't believe that's coming up again. But now I need to go drink more water because I cannot talk anymore. So thank you very much for watching, and I'm not sure if the next video will be about a book or just more rambling. I'm only like 20 pages into a 500-page book right now, so it might be a little while, but I'll see you then.